Miyazaki.
I got this! I can do this! This world can't beat me! I will survive!
For those of you who know who I am are aware that I'm a writer and I have self-published novels, and I'm currently working on a manga based on one of my books with my lovely artist Haruka, but I never talked about what influenced my writing. What truly pushed me to say I can do this was until I heard about the success of Reki and his work of SAO, a series that became the many faces to be recognized by the general public who watch anime. Now, as I watched the series and read the light novels, it began to become more clear to me that this was a series that had been done before in some aspect, and I'm talking about the ever-knowing game series Doc Hack. As a fan of both, I noticed people say one franchise is inferior to the other, and as a fan of both, I hate hearing comments of how SAO is a ripoff of Doc Hack, which is the main reason what I'm here to talk about today is to discuss the constant fight between the two series, and why I believe people think one is better than the other. So, whether you're diving into the world or Ironclad, let's talk about the constant fight between Doc Hack and SAO. For those of you who don't know, the original goal of the Doc Hack franchise has always been to create a sense of mystery, to keep the audience guessing, and for worse or better, it succeeded in doing so. The Doc Hack plot was deliberately designed to be secretive and complex, some would say convoluted, and they made a very good effort not to spoon-feed it to the audience. Unsurprisingly, the result was a holy mess of cryptic illusions and unexplained moves and head-scratchers where people immediately love, but there's still many viewers today who cannot say who some of the protagonists even were. In the same vein, Doc Hack tried to emphasize talking all over action and loved to raise philosophical questions about free will and social interaction, without ever bothering to give answers to them. I mean, the story is all over the place, which is why I'm covering it before SAO. Now, at first glance, Doc Hack's Sign is the first in the series. After all, it's an anime, but with its popularity, it grew into a video game series as well, with Doc Hack and its first video game saga starting with Doc Hack Effection. In order to understand all of Sign's seasons, you had to play Effection Quarantine to also understand Legend of Twilight, and so forth. Also, in the video games, there was the anime OVAs and DVDs. Yet the one thing Doc Hack all have in common is that all versions of Doc Hack dive into the world, which uses the Almond OS with a VR headset causes HMDs with a gamepad. It simply allows you to see the graphics of the game by controlling it. However, in every The World, there's always a scenario based on this computer virus that always, by the following list, causes graphics to glitch out and change dungeon maps entirely, and causes your HMD VR headsets to flicker. Somehow makes you unable to log out the game world you're trapped in, and unable to put you in a comatose state via an ability called data drain, thus causing you to go into a comatose state, and can also transfer your very being into the game for who knows how long. It's again never really explained how this virus can do all this. If it's really a virus, and none of the series or games does it state these VR headsets block access to your brain physically and sends you into the game itself. Every season goes through the exact same scenario in some state or form. It always starts off normal and then boom, fighting a weird being within the game that's not part of the programming. What's funny is every time this scenario happens, a new version of the world gets made, and each time a player uses the in-game message board to post weird messages that's not in the game's Almond administrations. GMS deletes the posts, and when real-world journalists try to investigate what the hell is going on, the players are treated like conspiracy theorists to cover its tracks. Allmet is never shut down when its players end up in a comatose state, and nobody gets arrested, not once or ever. In our world, even if Allmet couldn't be shut down, there would be some arrests and government investigations. VR gaming with VR headsets in the Doc Hack universe started between 2005 and 2007. It's one of those reasons why people debate that Doc Hack started the whole trapped in a video game before SAO due to the year Doc Hack's The World was created. But for us to truly understand the comparison, we need to follow up on the aspects of SAO. SAO, on the other hand, is for the most part a standard shonen anime fare. The intentional focus is clearly on the action parts to keep the audience entertained, and only later does the show dare to throw in some low action drama scenes. It also has a habit of occasionally skipping over a large chunk of story, often skipping weeks or months of in-game time between episodes, which immediately is the opposite of the usual shonen approach. But even so, in terms of storytelling, it still aims for completing the plot pretty directly, without symbolistic establishment or other mumbo jumbo. Finally, regarding philosophy, well, SAO certainly tried to have some to appear more intellectual, but what little is there was usually conveyed by direct protagonist actions rather than talking. Which leads up to the tech. In SAO, they use VR headsets, which started in 2020 called Nerve Gear. These headsets and ones like it transfer your brain senses into the game world, making you a citizen of Aincrad. As soon as the players of Aincrad, aka SAO, log into the game, they are trapped within it by the game's genius creator, and if the avatar of the player dies, they die in real life due to some of the properties of the Nerve Gear. This turns SAO into a literal death game, where not only can the game kill you at any given time, but if the headset is removed from the outside, you die, and hospital machines can only keep you alive for so long. Yet with all the tech being established of both respective stories, the one thing we can really boil down to is if the stories themselves are even good enough to begin with. Well, let's start with the characters since they get the wheel turning. For this, Haseo was a good candidate due to the fact he's compared to Kirito a lot. Both have special connections with the game they live in, they try to save the respective love interests, and lastly, they can be overpowered characters. But what separates them? That, my friends, is a simple observation being their character development. You see, Haseo's development exceeds Kirito in more ways. In each volume of Dark Hack GU, we see Haseo go from rookie beginner to overall pro with a new power he gains from the volumes, as well as a purpose to fight in the game, while Kirito just accepts being trapped in a video game. In more ways, I can see Kirito as an enigma. He's just there. In fact, he becomes the hero by accident than actually trying to strive to help others. He just happens to be at the right place at the right time, which leads to the sad part of his character. No matter what new game realm Kirito finds himself in, his character doesn't seem to change but rather stay stagnated. I can only recall 2 times when Kirito's past actions or a serious time in his life really affected his character that's shown he was growing, but yet it only lasted for so long. Yet with this major flaw that SAO has, why does it seem that it has more popularity than Dark Hack? Well, I see it in 2 ways. One, when Reki was creating SAO, he was focusing more on the world building of his series rather than his characters, which would make sense because it's a story based on the concept of video games. Which leads to number 2 being when Dark Hack first came out on the PlayStation in 2002, I would be lying if I didn't say Dark Hack was a popular game that caught a lot of people's attention. But we gotta remember this was back in 2002. So I believe people didn't really believe virtual reality could be possible. Yet when SAO's anime came out in 2012, the same year the Oculus Rift was being developed, it gave people some light that VR could be a real phenomenon. Also with the development of SAO at the beginning, the possibilities were practically endless for VR now. But that doesn't mean SAO doesn't share many faults like Dark Hack, because SAO's pace was too damn fast and the overall ending of the Aincrad arc ended on a half-assed note. I mean, towards the end of episode 15 where Kirito meets Kaiba outside of Aincrad, Kirito asks Kaiba why he trapped the players in the first place, at which Kaiba answers,
"No, I did this because of Metacritic."
Like, the website?
Whoops. I meant this. Sorry guys.
That's a good question. It's been so long I've forgotten the reason. Isn't that strange?
Really? So you mean to tell me that after 2 years of Kirito and the other gamers being trapped, Kaiba couldn't give a solid reason why he trapped them? To me, and not to be too harsh, but I believe that was poor writing. Now I wouldn't say the story is bad because majority fans did like the series, but I believe it could have been a concept to expand upon. It was one of the many reasons why people like the Phantom Bullet arc better than the Fairy Dance arc because it brought back that same feeling we remember from Aincrad. The pressure of players being trapped in a game really gave attention to fans, and with the remnant of Aincrad playing a huge part in the Phantom Bullet, gave a purpose for the arc to exist in the first place. So what's my overall verdict? Well, I treat both series as a coin. Both share an equal side with faults and gains. Yet there can't be too much hate between the two because both saw it was a good idea to combine promotion to raise the story's popularity. Yet I'm not worried one series is doing better than the other because with Dark Hack GU now out and fully remastered, it gives a chance for new fans to check it out and see what all the hype is about. But I'll probably say that for a future video. But yeah, that's all the time we have for today, my friends. So like I say in all my videos, be sure to subscribe and give a like on this video. Like I said, I need all the support I can get, and let me know below in the comments what you think is a significant part in both SAO and Dark Hack. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care.